By the way, there's some beautiful YouTubers with us today. Put out those lights!
So I'm here today in Bristol to meet up with some other YouTubers, and we're all going to go underground. Yes, it's a World War II air raid shelter, a secret one, and it's open to the public. So it's located here in the St Nicholas market area of Bristol.
So if you had been standing here up until the 24th of November 1940, 6 p.m. to be precise, the view across the street would have looked very different. You would have been faced with this wonderful timber frame building known as our Dutch house, an iconic structure from Bristol's past. Few people realise just how densely packed what is now Castle Park used to be with buildings, however. You would have found the high street here running up to our Dutch house on the corner, packed full of pub shops and restaurants. But yes, a devastating raid which changed the face of the city forever. So this, unfortunately, would have been the view which presented itself to you the morning after. Our poor Dutch house looking a mess. So speaking of the delights which await us beneath the street, let's head down there. So we will now head through to explore the shelter and then return into this room where you can grab a seat and I'll talk you through our ever-growing collection of artefacts. So we'll begin in this room, which would have been the main room of the shelter, I guess. And from this point on, as I mentioned, you will see green metal blast doors, which date back to the 1940s. These would have been shut when the high explosive bombs began to fall on the streets above. You'll also notice 1940s brickwork here called armour brickwork, adding further reinforcement to doorways and archways. So in a moment, I will show you something incredible, the highlight of the tour in my opinion. And to create a bit more atmosphere, we can put some music on. And you cannot say that attention to detail hasn't been paid down here, because we don't just have any gramophone. We have an HMV. And does anyone know the HMV link here in Bristol? The dog, precisely. The famous logo of a little dog listening to a gramophone is a Bristol dog. His name was Nipper. Nipper was owned by a set builder at the Princess Theatre on Park Road. That theatre was destroyed during the Blitz, and there's a statue of Nipper up there right now. The set builder's brother was an artist. He created this painting of Nipper listening to a gramophone, flogged it to HMV, and it's been their logo ever since. And the name Nipper was a second Bristol link. Nippers were the young lads that would run up and down the decks of the ships during Bristol's heyday as a port. Those lads carrying the ropes and sails were known as nippers, and we still, of course, refer to youngsters as nippers today. So 2 Bristol links there. We have right here pencil drawings, which are thought to date back to the Blitz. I will close this blast door temporarily because we have another amazing survivor to take a look at right here. Half a poster. So we have to presume what the rest would have said, but you can pretty much do so. The original entrance and exit for the public. The public would have entered using this set of stairs, which are now blocked off. I don't think you're going to find many more accurate windows back to wartime Bristol, or wartime Britain even, than this very doorway. The incredible hand-painted ladies' lavatory sign remains in place. worry, it'll be closer to my ears than it is to yours. But luckily, this is not a sound we associate with the Blitz. But that would have rattled out had gas ever been dropped, which it was not. These most definitely were. Here we have a replica incendiary bomb. 12,000 of these devices began the raid on the 24th of November. And they were designed not to explode on impact, but to set on fire. The shell casing being made from magnesium. And they were designed to be small enough to get stuck down your chimney in your gutter and set your roof on fire. The purpose of those fires was not so much to cause damage, they were designed to provide targets for the next wave of high explosive bombers to aim for. So if one did get stuck in your roof, it's very important that you put it out, otherwise you might find a much bigger bomb was heading your way. And to extinguish your incendiary, you had sand or water. So for the sand, this device was specifically designed. It's called a Red Hill scoop, came in 2 halves. That end enabled you to get the incendiary out of your gutter, pull it towards yourself. That end to get a big chunk of sand on top. And then for the water, you had the trusty, or maybe not so trusty, stirrup pump. So this is a stirrup for your foot, like on a horse. That end went in the bucket of water. And then you had a tiny little hose to put your whole house out with. Good luck. Better off maybe chucking the bucket on and running away. If you were to walk through the park, all you would find still standing would be the ruins of St. Peter's Church with no roof or windows, the tower of Mary Laporte Church, and then right at the east end of the park, there's another building that survived. Incredibly, the vaulted medieval chambers, pretty much the oldest building in the old town, part of the Norman Castle banqueting hall, no less. They survived because in the 1940s, they were tucked away inside Boots Pharmacy. In fact, as Uncle Bonnie's Chinese Rhythm and Blues and Jazz Club, bit of a dubious sounding institution there, but nonetheless, it was the place to be. Wasn't the very biggest venue in town. The former Colston Hall held that crown. So although the Beatles are on that poster, they never played upstairs. Pretty much everyone else did. We've had the Rolling Stones, Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, The Who, Muddy Waters, Van Morrison, Spencer Davis, Cream, Them, The Byrds, Cilla Black, Lulu, Sonny and Cher all sang Up Where the Traders. Yeah, solid little lineup, but it's everyone you've basically heard of had a little stint at the Exchange. So as we head back up, I'll just also throw in this diary entry from 1966, which records a Who gig upstairs at the Corn Exchange. And it really is quite something. It reads, "Went to see Who at Corn with Dina, Jill and Ginny. Fabby, Roger, fantastic. Roger was marvellous. Wore maroon woolly stuffed bells." It's Roger Daltrey, obviously from The Who. "Maroon woolly stuffed bells, black velvet belt, hipsters, striped shirt, cravat type. His hair was like flaxen corn." Literally, and very tan skin. Didn't notice his socks. Got a true fan writing right there. Stupendous. Keith also gorgeous, and a drawing of Keith Moon on the drum. She does mention the music, but it's mostly about how much she fancies Roger Daltrey. And there they are on stage. Roger Daltrey, Pete Townsend, Roger with, it has to be said, hair like flaxen corn. It's an accurate description. And these pillars are the same pillars that the traders are trading between right now. So we'll finish by heading up. I'll point at that stage and you can go and grab a drink somewhere. And as I do so, point out that the stage in the 1960s would have been found between those two pillars straight ahead of you. Tiny little stage really, but that's where the action would have taken place. Hard to find images from that decade. The best I could find of the Rolling Stones shows the unmistakable figure of Mick Jagger strutting his stuff between those two pillars. It's a Christmas concert, 1965. Same evening, you'll see the most youthful and innocent looking Keith Richards and Brian Jones in the corner there. Poor old Brian, it is said, fell asleep on Exchange Avenue, this side of the building, either mid or post one of these gigs. Now, Exchange Avenue doubled up as the gents' toilets in the 1960s, so if poor old Brian is falling asleep in a public urinal year one of touring, maybe it's not surprising things ended the way they did for him. I'm sure Mick, though, would raise a wry smile, especially as he has just celebrated his 80th birthday, a wry smile in the knowledge that in the same space they're performing in as teenagers, between the same two pillars no less, you now find the Bristol Rock and Fossil Shop. So there's a perfect circularity to that one. Go and see Johnny at Rock and Fossils. He'll happily point out various chips made by famous guitars being smashed against them, mostly by The Who. And whilst you're in there, for now you can feel smug in the knowledge that you'll be the only people in the Exchange Hall with the slightest clue of what lies beneath that parquet floor.
So we're down here now, and here are some of the other YouTubers. Hello, Nicola. How are you? How are you doing?
Martin, yeah. Thank you.
So how did you find the tour? Okay?
Yeah, it was absolutely brilliant. I think Duncan does a fantastic job of bringing the space to life, sharing stories that he's collected throughout his time while he's been doing the tour. So it's a really genuine sort of theme through it, because it's people that he's spoken with, stories that he's collected, and it really brings it to life.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I loved the stuff about the 60s as well. Interesting as well, the fact that it was used for a concert hall upstairs.
Oh yeah, that's a really fascinating part of the history of the shelter, definitely.
Thanks. So this is Nicola Explores.
Hello.
I'll put a link to the channel as well.
Yeah, brilliant.
So I've got Louise from Southwest Sundays and Paul from West Country Wanderings here with me.
Hello.
Here we are.
Hi, Martin.
You okay, guys? So what did you think of the tour?
Oh, I really loved it. It was really, really interesting. I mean, when I was learning about the war in school and things, it never really went in. I didn't learn it particularly a lot, but that really brought it alive, and I hopefully will remember things from that, what he was saying. Yeah. Good educational tour.
Yeah, it's something different, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. It's brought to life what it must have been like, the horror of being in Bristol during the Second World War. Really brought the facts, some of the things about the incendiary bombs landing down the chimneys and causing fires and that sort of thing. It just brought the whole thing to life. It was amazing. Yeah, very, very good. Yeah.
So now I've come back home to finish the video off. But that was a very enjoyable show, going underground into the air raid shelter. Duncan, the tour guide, was very enthusiastic. He told us lots of interesting stuff about the Bristol Blitz and the shelter, and he also very kindly offered to wear my wireless mic so I could get good sound quality when he spoke. Thanks very much for that, Duncan, much appreciated. So this video is just a taster really. If you want to do the full tour, I will leave the website link below. I really liked the part of the tour which spoke about the corn exchange upstairs as well. I had no idea that the area that is now the indoor market was used as a concert hall, hosting the Rolling Stones and The Who amongst others. That was really interesting. It was also really nice to catch up and meet with the other YouTubers, Paul, Louise, and to meet Nicola and her partner Carl. I will leave links to their channels down below. They all produce real good quality content, and I recommend you check their channels out. A big thank you also to Nicola and Carl for arranging this outing. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all next time.
Put out those lights!